Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my greenhouse build. Behind us you can see where we left off in the last video with all of the framing of the roof, and in this video we are not going to do exactly what I thought we were going to do next. I thought we were going to put on the door and then from there doing the siding and the plastic, but within that time I decided that I would like to stain the wood because I don't really like the color of it right now, and I want it to kind of tie into like the woodsy nature surroundings. So I was thinking for a while, I was trying to think, I don't want to stain it because I don't think I will be able to stain it evenly enough for a big structure like this. And I don't want to paint it because paint looks weird on top of wood, and so I settled with the idea of semi-transparent wood stain. And I went to Home Depot today with my dad and we got wood stain. We got two different options. One of them is cedar natural tone and then the other one is a redwood natural tone. These are what they look like here. This is the redwood and this is the cedar. Couldn't decide if I wanted something a little bit more orangey or a little more brown, so I just went with the two of them. It was only $12 for two samples, so it's a pretty good deal, and this will help me kind of figure out, okay, what one do I actually want? And I'm going to do some tests on it and figure out which one I like better, and then we're going to go and buy the full gallon. So that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing some test pieces. I have both of my samples right here. It's not really helpful that he didn't put, oh no, okay. I was like, they didn't put the names on them. No, this is the cedar natural tone and this is the redwood natural tone. So yeah, so we're gonna be trying these out today. I'm gonna start by prepping the wood the exact way that I would the greenhouse. So we're gonna do a little bit of sanding, some wiping down, and then going right in and trying the samples. All right, so we've just got two pieces of wood that I'm gonna try practicing on, and we've already done the test in the past. They are fully dried. We did the waterproof test where you like spray some water on it, and if it stays on the top then it's not dry. If it kind of soaks in then it means it is dry and it's ready for staining. So these are ready for staining, so I'm just going to do a little bit of sanding. I know this is not the sanding that you're like the type of sander that you're supposed to use, but I really don't feel like using an entire electric sander right now, so I'm just going to use the block. It does the same thing, it's just not as like fine grit, but we're really only doing it to see the difference. And I'm actually going to do half sanded, half unsanded, because I want to see if it's actually necessary for me to sand the entire greenhouse, because I would rather not, of course, because that's a lot of square feet to sand. So I'm just gonna do a little bit. You can definitely see the difference. Like, it's not super obvious, but like it's a lot lighter here than it is down here. So I'm just gonna look. This has like a little handbook in the back to tell you how to like prep everything and what you need. It says only to use one coat for clears, toners, and semi-transparent stains, and this is semi-transparent, so thankfully we only have to do one. So I have my gloves here, and I got this like sponge brush kind of thing to just practice with. So I think we're gonna start with the redwood. I'm so excited. They looked so pretty when he showed them to me. The guy that mixed the paint. Ooh, look at that color. That's so pretty. I'm just gonna set this on the ground because hopefully it won't spill, but if it spills then it'll be fine. So I'm gonna start with this one. It's a little more than half. I think I accidentally sanded it like here, which is fine, but I don't know what I was thinking. I thought for some reason I was gonna have to pry it open, but I forgot these are just screw-on lids. So yeah, so we're just gonna do a small little dip Nothing too crazy. Ooh. That's really pretty. I don't know if these are the same as like actual stains where like you shouldn't kind of start halfway through, so I'm just gonna kind of do that. That's pretty fun. And I think I'm gonna do the end of this too, just to see how this takes the stain, because there's gonna be a lot of pieces like this that I'm gonna need to cover, so I just want to see how much of the grain is actually going to show through. It's actually really pretty. It is definitely redwood color, but that's pretty. I don't know, could you see that on like the whole thing? Oh, I just put my finger in it. Why did I do that? It's okay. It seems like it dries up pretty quickly, so we're just gonna kind of leave this right here. So now we're gonna do the cedar natural tone. That's really pretty. That's a lot more yellowy or orangey, I guess. And that's what I was kind of having a hard time deciding between, if I wanted something a little more dark or something more yellow. So, all right. So again, just make sure that's fine. Ooh. Man, I'm already having a hard time deciding between these two. They're two completely different like looks. Look at that. So this is what they look like next to each other. Just the difference. I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of leaning towards the redwood because this looks a little too orange. So I'm really glad that I got this one because this is so pretty. It's quite literally dry. I actually really want to try to do a second coat just to see if it would look any different. I mean, it probably will, but it's a little more transparent. Like, it's supposed to be semi-transparent. This is giving kind of like transparent. So I'm just gonna see if it would be worth doing a second coat. And I'm gonna do it on like half of the entire thing. I'm splitting this into quarters here. This is what winging it looks like. Okay, so we're gonna let that dry. I might like it darker, I might not, we'll see. And it also might all come down to whether I have enough paint with like a gallon to actually do the whole thing with 2 coats or not. Oops, my bad. I really need to be careful. Also, I think this piece of wood was a little bit more yellowy, so it's like, it definitely looks more orange. So I think I'm gonna go with this one because it kind of evens out the tone. This looks a little bit like too yellow, and I don't think that I could deal with the entire structure being this bright yellow. It's kind of ugly, actually. I really like even just this, but I really like the color of this. I'm gonna put up some photos that I was kind of going off of when I was deciding which color I wanted. This is definitely more orangey like the photos, but I think this gives more of the vibe that I was hoping for. Kind of, I mean, even just this, but I mean, that is really pretty. Just kind of turning it more into something warm that would kind of contrast really well with plants. So I definitely think I'm gonna go with this one. I'm so excited. This is so pretty. Okay, I need to stop picking it up because I keep forgetting I painted that side. I'm so sorry, buddy. You are ugly. This is actually so ugly. I'm sorry. Dang, I love this redwood. Oh my word. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of do a little hold up kind of test to just further my point that I would not want that color. I'm gonna do like this. So looking at that, this is definitely so pretty. I love the two coats so much. Yeah, it looks so good. This is I showed it to my dad and my mom, and they both, before I told them my opinion, they said, oh, I like that one a lot better. That one's way too orange. I'm like, yeah, definitely too orange. Just like looking at that, I mean, compared to this, looking at these, this is so pretty. I love it so much. Can you imagine this entire thing looking like this? Either one of those. I'm so excited. And the good thing about me doing the ends like this was that seeing like over here, you know, that's what that would look like. And that looks so ugly. It looks so ugly. But this one, that looks really pretty. So that's where I'm kind of like, maybe I will only do one coat on these edge pieces because I don't feel like they need to be as dark, you know? But of course, we're just going to start with one coat and then we're going to go from there. I think the knots and all this just stands out a little too much against the orange. So, yeah. But this was a really great experiment, and I'm so glad that I did this. It literally only took like 10 minutes, so that was really nice. So I'm not going to be staining anything today. I was just trying to get a few clips done where I could here and there. I just came back from a really big trip, and I have some things tonight, and I have work tomorrow, so I won't be able to get anything done probably till like Sunday, but I hope to go out and get the entire gallon bucket of this redwood, and then we can start, you know, washing this down. I'm probably gonna do like a pressure washing, and then, oh wait, yeah, I want to look at the sanding difference. So you can definitely see here there's a lot more texture to it than on this side. So this is sanded, this is non-sanded, and it just looks a lot more smooth. It feels smooth too, and you can see there are like a lot of just like clumps of paint kind of, and a lot more texture. So I think I am going to sand all of it. I may or may not, here, this is the thing that it comes down to, like how much I actually care. I may or may not sand the entire thing. I might just kind of do the outside ones, the parts that you're gonna see from the outside and see a lot more than the other parts. Like, I'm not probably gonna sand in here, you know, like that doesn't really matter to me. I'm probably not gonna sand in here, probably not necessarily here, but there are like certain spots that have marks. Like here has marks, so of course, like I'm gonna sand this outside one, but like I want to try to get all these like writings and marks off of it. Like, I'm for sure gonna sand the outside of this entire structure, but I'm probably just gonna kind of go around and be like, does this need to be sanded? Do I want to sand this, whatnot? Like this one right here definitely needs to be sanded. It's really ugly. I will see you guys when we get to staining in maybe a few days. I don't really know. I have a lot of things going on and it's already October, so we're kind of getting into the end of the season. Even though it's so nice outside, we might be able to squeeze a few more weeks out of fall before it gets too cold to like do anything outside, but I'm gonna try my very best to get this project done. But before I actually am able to stain this entire thing, I have to finish the door. I have to build the door and get that together so that we can, you know, fully stain it together. I probably will stain the door off of the greenhouse just because that makes a lot more sense than trying to catch all the drips that are falling down. You know, like it's already going to be a little bit difficult with some of these, and hoping that it's not going to be super drippy. But then after all of this is done being stained, we are gonna put the siding on, and I might end up painting the siding. I don't know. It's definitely not the same color as even this wood as it is, and it's definitely not the same color as this. So when we get there, you know, we'll talk about it and figure out what we want to do. But that would be the next step. And my dad brought up to me today, he said it might not be a great idea to put the plastic on over winter, like before winter, because you just kind of run the risk of having things fall, like tree branches fall, or just the weather kind of puncturing it, and then you're like, oh, spring comes, now I have to go rebuy all that plastic. And I said, that is a really good idea. So the only downside to that is that I was planning to start my seeds like 2 to 4 weeks before the last frost in Michigan, and you kind of need a full greenhouse to be able to do that. So I might just have to come out at some point during the winter. Maybe we'll get a week where the snow kind of melts away and I'm able to get out here to put on the plastic, and then I can start my seeds. So, you know, we'll see. It's kind of all just like by ear. This is definitely not a very set out schedule for building, because whose life is so open to the point where you can just like take 5 or 6 weeks and get something fully done, unless that is your job, you know what I mean? Like, or unless you're on vacation or something. So I'm just not able to do that, which is fine, but I'm just trying to kind of fit things in here and there, get things done when I can. So I'd say we're doing pretty good though. And there were like 2 weeks there that I wasn't able to work on anything because I was out of town, and so, you know, it kind of set us back a little bit, but I'm hoping that we will be able to get it done before winter fully is in season. That is everything but the plastic. So sorry for that little rant, but I thought that was probably important to explain. If anybody was like, why are you doing it how you're doing it, why are you doing it this way, like, there's other things going on in my life where I can't just kind of take 5 weeks and get this project done, unfortunately. And I also have to start readying my garden for the winter and pulling out all the dead plants and stuff like that, because I'm supposed to be planting my garlic this week, and I don't know how that's gonna work. So we'll see. You know, everything is a test. You're always learning, and you know, it's fine. I'm fine with it. It's not ideal, but you know, we'll get it done, and I'll look back and I'll be like, thank goodness it's over. But yeah, with that being said, I will see you guys when we are building the door for the greenhouse, and then also washing and staining and sanding the greenhouse, and I'm so excited for that.